So, everyone's talking about this stabbing in the UK. I think about 10 people were stabbed or were attacked in some way by this knifeman. Which, you know, I saw Americans mocking the idea of a knifeman as a term, but hey. So, obviously, the moment anything like this happens, you get immediately, everyone jumps into overdrive with, it's an asylum seeker, it's a terrorist attack, we need to deport everyone, you know. That was the immediate speculation narrative. It's not the case. It's a British guy, black British guy, just to be clear, just so, you know, no schizophrenics feel like I'm misleading. Black British guy called Anthony Williams. So no Mohammed Jihads, no whatevers, you know. I don't even know what name you would look for. No Abugu Obdwaya or some shit. I don't know, man, you know. None of that. Anthony Williams, British knifeman. Okay, so that's the suspect. That's obviously, we don't know, you know, can't 100% strict laws around discussing court cases in the UK, where you can't say they're the, you know, total perpetrator, but suspect that is obviously assumed to be involved in the knife attack. Now, there were initially a bunch of conspiracy theories and speculation going around, where people were basically saying, like, they were reposting these totally unvetted testimonies from alleged witnesses from the train, where the people were saying that it was two attackers. This was right after two people had been arrested. Two attackers, and they were screaming Allahu Akbar, and they were masked and you know, Middle Eastern or whatever, and none of it doesn't seem like any of that's true. Obviously, can't know 100%. Not being treated as a terror attack right now, though, despite what people wanted to believe initially. And it's also in connection with apparently an attempted stabbing or a stabbing of a 14-year-old boy that may have been same suspect, like the night before, or earlier in the night, rather. So it seems like, and this guy's apparently homeless, based on the court appearance. So it seems like more of a homeless mental health type issue than, you know, a terror attack. It doesn't seem like it's a terror attack based on everything we can see so far. And you would think, you know, and to a certain extent, this is true, discussion has just, like, died down. Like, initially, when it was, like, 10 people attacked, possible terror attack, everyone was like, oh my god, this is insane. Now that it's not an asylum seeker, now that it's a Brit, now that it's not a terror attack, people care less. However, it has pushed some of the retards, some of the, you know, typical knuckle-dragging, mouth-breathing, fucking alcoholic, wife-beating reform supporters to an even further right position. Because to justify their sort of, like, outrage over this, and to feel like they've got somewhere to go with it, because this guy's just a black Brit called Anthony Williams, they're having to go to ethnic talking points. So usually they can get away with being sort of civnat, being maybe like a little bit of ethnicities mixed in there. They're now having to go to, like, basically, yeah, like, deport all blacks. That's basically the level they're getting to pretty quickly. And I welcome that, frankly. I welcome reform taking on even more extreme and alienating positions over the next few years before the election. I welcome that, totally. So, have fun doing that. You know, surely the reform base won't desperately try and pull them further right throughout the next 4 years. Surely that's not going to happen. Surely not. So let's take a look.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Superintendent John Lovelace, and I'm here to provide you with an update on the incident at Huntingdon Station that took place here last night. It's a shocking incident, and first and foremost, my thoughts are with the family and friends of those who've been affected and those who are injured. At approximately 7:42 p.m.
Did you hear about reform wanting to scrap the triple lock? Yeah, and wanting to reduce the minimum wage as well.
Yep. Evening, there were calls to the police service in relation to multiple stabbings which took place on board a train service that departed Doncaster at 6:25 p.m. and was en route to London King's Cross Station. Officers immediately attended Huntingdon Station alongside paramedics where armed police officers from Cambridgeshire Police boarded the train and arrested 2 people. Within 8 minutes of the 999 call being made, 2 men were brought into police custody, where they remain this morning.
So the second guy was actually released. The second guy was released, so I guess he's not assumed to be implicated in any way at this point. And there was a British guy and a Caribbean guy, and the Caribbean guy was released.
That these are the first male, a 32-year-old male, a black British national, and a 35-year-old man, a British national of Caribbean descent, who were both
British
arrested
national,
on suspicion of attempted murder. Both were born in the United Kingdom. As stated, they remain this morning in separate police stations for questioning. 10 people were taken to hospital by ambulance.
Just arrested. They were just like, wait, which black guy? I know. Get both of them. Grab both of them.
And another person self-presented later that evening. While 9 were initially believed to have life-threatening injuries, following assessment and treatment, 4, thankful to say, have been discharged. However, 2 patients remain in a life-threatening condition.
So my understanding is that there were, so this morning there were 2 patients still in and condition, and then one of them was declared fine, and then there was another guy who was in a tough spot but stable eventually, right? I think. Basically, it's seeing the death toll 0 here, basically. As far as I can tell, I don't think there's a risk that this guy's going to die. I think they said he was stable. I think they said it looked fine. I think. So I think the death toll seems to be 0. It might end up being 1. So.
British Transport Police declared a major incident yesterday, and counter-terrorism policing were initially supporting our investigation. However, at this stage,
WNHS, W gun laws, W everything. We just don't have mass killings like Americans do. What can I say? We just don't have mass killings like you guys do.
Nothing to suggest that this is a terrorist incident. This is a British Transport Police investigation, and we continue to work to establish at pace the full circumstances and the motivations that have led to this incident. At this early stage, it would not be appropriate to speculate on the cause of this incident. As you can see, the station this morning remains closed. However, we expect trains to be passing through the station this morning. Passengers...
Yeah. So the guy who was still in a bad spot, who was like the most, the worst injured, I think, was apparently a worker on the train line, who saved a bunch of the passengers, basically. Who saved a bunch of the passengers, got people to safety, and fucking blocked the way and shit. So yeah. So wow, pretty epic guy. W Mans. Hopefully survives. But yeah, overall not quite the, I think honestly, reform people like the Tommy Robinson crowd, at least the super extreme ones, hope for these to be as bad as possible. They are praying for, basically it to be an asylum-seeking Muslim kills a bunch of young white girls. That's basically what they're sitting there hoping for, and you see them just trying to desperately spin it up and manufacture that before the details are even out. And that's basically what they hope for every single fucking time. So I'm glad they didn't get what they want. I'm glad everyone seems to have survived.
Will see a high visibility presence of police officers at stations and on trains throughout today, up and down the transport network. Our officers are there to reassure the public and to address any concerns they may have. I'd like to thank the public personally for their patience and their cooperation. Yesterday evening, which has already greatly assisted our investigation through the help the public have tendered, as well as the multi-agency response partners from colleagues in other blue light services. I'd like to extend my thanks to our colleagues within.
So there was a interview that I wanted to see that I watched earlier. Dude, they've got this new... Oh, wait. Brief tangent about Sky News. So, guys, do you know who... What are their fucking names again? Ridge and Frost. And it's Sophie Ridge and Wilfred Frost from Sky News. now have mornings with Ridge and Frost, I think is what it's called, or mornings with Soph and Wolf. I don't know which one it is, but they call each other. It's like so fucking bad, dude. It's the most cringy shit in the world. They had their first episode today, and I was watching it this morning after I was gonna say after finished stream, but I didn't stream last night, did I? But anyway, the time where I would have been finishing stream, like 6 in the morning, I was watching it, and it was fucking terrible, man. They've tried to make it, I guess, more like BBC Breakfast or like Good Morning Britain, where it's like almost like a couch show, you know, breakfast show, where it's like affable and a bit more informal, and it's fucking terrible. It's so fucking terrible. It's like, oh, it's so difficult to watch, man. And I hate fucking Wilfred Frost as well. He's so uncharismatic, man. He's such a fucking reptile. And I see him, he's got like a fucking podcast about investment as well. I just see it, I'm like, dude, you're a total reptile. And then, to be fair, I say I hate Frost, but the woman, fucking Sophie Ridge, whatever her name is, isn't much better because she fucks everything up. You're just like sitting there watching it. It's like Stardust as a news presenter sometimes. She's like trying to think of what to say and just like going around in fucking circles. Like, fuck up. She calls like the families. So there's the Air India crash, right? There's the Air India crash that happened a while ago where almost everyone died except one guy. And she keeps saying survivors, the survivors. There's one survivor. She means the survivor and the families of the dead. But she kept saying survivors and having to correct herself like all morning. And I was like, dude, just fucking get it right. Just fucking get it right. Anyway, not the fucking point. See anything about Sky News. See anything about the new Sky News segment. Morning segment. Where's this interview? There was an interview about safety on public transport. And basically just saying the obvious, which is that, no, we don't need TSA-style checkpoints at every train station. That would be ridiculous. Train's some of the safest form of public transport. Yeah, look, there it is. Look. Wait, here we go. It'll be in here. It'll be in here somewhere. Where is it? Where is it? It was in there, segment. Is it this guy? No, I don't think so. Maybe? I can't even see it now, man. Was it this guy?
Of course, has now been...
Congratulations on the new programme. Very exciting development.
No, I don't think so. Bro, I don't remember what segment it was. Was it this guy? It's this guy, I think. It's this guy. Here we go. So yeah, they have an interview with some police guy or something.
See cropping up in our news feeds or on videos on X and social media, it's easy to feel that Britain's becoming a more dangerous place. But is it true? Let's try and find out, shall we? David Wilson is a former prison governor and criminologist.
Yeah, most of this is going to be pretty obvious, I feel like, to most people. It's worth watching anyway. Basically, it's just about how, you know, people pretend that the whole country's getting so fucking violent, and you see a couple of videos of black people fighting on Twitter or TikTok or whatever. Everyone thinks, oh my god, the whole country's gone to shit. Or they see one incident like this. But actually, broadly, the country's way safer than it's ever been.
I'm interested to hear your take on this, because look, we look at stories like this, which are appalling. We look at stories like the dog walker who was
this is
some of the other really high-profile incidents
that
we've seen recently, and it feels that we are in an increasingly dangerous country. Is it true, though? What do the stats say?
The stats say we're not in an increasingly more dangerous country. In fact, they give the opposite message. We have had homicide rate figures released very recently, both in England and Wales, separate criminal justice system in Scotland and also in Scotland. Scotland, if I start there first, their homicide rate is the lowest since 1971. 45 people were murdered in suspicious circumstances in Scotland in the last 12 months. The figures are slightly higher in England. In other words, the decrease hasn't been as great, but nonetheless, the figures in England and Wales are also decreasing. And more generally, in England and Wales, whether we're looking at recorded crime or the measures undertaken by the Crime Survey of England and Wales, crime overall has dropped by some 90% in most categories since in the last 30 years. But what we're really talking about here is the perception gap.
Oh, they do have poppies. They do have poppies. They've got pins. They've got pins. They don't have the big ones.
you with those figures, there's a perception gap by the members of the public who don't think those rates are going down. In fact, they probably think those rates are increasing.
Are trains, for the most part, safe places to be?
Yeah, tell me about it, dude. Literally, Wilfred Frost gives me the fucking just like most insane. Like it's like my reptile senses are going off. Like, I see a skin suit. I'm getting like my They Live glasses are like lighting up, and I can see. It's like the uncanny valley feeling you get upon seeing a skinwalker crawling up to you at your window at 2 a.m. You know.
Totally. And I understand why everybody will be wanting to consider technological measures, new airport-style security measures which might be introduced into train stations. I get that. I totally understand that. And it's only right that we talk about those things. And indeed, if we think about it, we never used to have metal detectors.
So yeah, this guy's basically saying, we can have a conversation about metal detectors and shit, but what's the point, really? There's no point. There's no point in having metal detectors. Broadly, public transport is incredibly safe. Incredibly safe. So why would you make like huge changes over one instant?
In our schools, but we put metal detectors in our schools because so often these crimes of violence are through stabbing and are committed by young people. So we put metal detectors in our schools, and of course we have to have that public debate about whether that would be appropriate in train stations as well.
I was just going to ask about the crime stats as well, because you do hear often that people feel, less safe, particularly in some of our cities as well. And I just wonder if it's because certain types of crime are going.
Who's going to stop people that set up the alarms? We don't understand, Polly, that there's going to be TSA-style checkpoints at every train station. All the thousands of train stations are going to have TSA-style checkpoints with metal detectors, and there's little trays you have to put your belongings in. Someone's going to be checking that for every single person that goes there. Then they're going to have staff on all of the trains, on every service. They're going to have staff in the carriages, patrolling the carriages to make sure that everyone's okay, to make sure there's no issues. They're going to do all this, Polly, and it's going to be really easy and cost no money. And it's totally workable because we had one attack where so far 0 people have died.
Going up more or disproportionately. The ones that I've kind of seen are, for example, theft against a person. So
also, we're going to strip citizenship from all blacks too, actually. Also, if you're black and you were born here, you're not a citizen anymore. Sorry. That's the way. That's how it works. That's how it works. I'm Drew Pavlo. And you're getting your citizenship stripped because one guy did something. Because one crazy homeless guy did something. Allegedly did something, because I can't legally say he did it. Suspect, not perpetrator. Let's have a look at this from Drew Pavlo right here. Very intelligent stuff going on. So this girl posts, me on the 743 from Liverpool to London Euston, scrolling through all those over-dramatized, I'm scared of the train, gammon fucks. What is this? I got a lot of flack for tweeting that I'm now nervous. But I did actually get on a train. The simple fact is we shouldn't have to live like this. And the people to blame are our government. Bruh. Yeah, dude, this is the guy that everyone's scared of on trains. Like, this guy's like, I'm nervous to get on the train. Everyone else on the train is like, dude, that guy's worrying me. I'm going to move seats. I'm going to move seats. I'm gonna move seats. I don't want to be in this carriage. So, yeah, I mean, I will say, though, I am a little bit concerned here. What's with all the blue lights and shit? Are you in, like, a fancy cabin? Are you in, like, a first class or something? What's going on here? That looks like a nice train carriage. I am a little bit concerned that you might be in first class, in which case I don't want to hear you talking about public transport. Okay, you're not really getting public transport, you're getting some posh shit. Don't want to hear it from you. Don't want to hear it from you. But Drew Pavlo says, yeah, shame on the gammons who don't want to be stabbed in the head by an insane foreigner on the train. So he wasn't a foreigner. He was British. Born in Britain. He was British. Called Anthony Williams. Not even a name that you can point to and fearmonger about. So if you want to deport black people who are born in Britain with names like Anthony Williams, you are on a very far, far, far extreme of ethno-nationalism. You are not just a civnat. You're not even just concerned about demographics. You are a white nationalist. You are a white nationalist. That's what you are. Jew Pavlu. Turk saying this, by the way. Turkish man saying this. Turkish individual. Arab Turk saying this, by the way. Your son will be made into a janitary. Okay. Saying here, are the attackers British or are they paper British? Attacker, and he was, yeah, born in Britain, so he's British. Okay. It's just crazy, man.